We three sit in front of you rather shamefaced because we led you down a path of optimism that turned out to be a dead end of delusion. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. We have Simon Doull, Joy Bhattacharjya. I am Gaurav Kapur. We all gave you fake hopes of scores around 200, but was not to be.
I gave you 180.
190, you said.
I said 180.
190.
He said 190.
I said 180.
You can't deduct. It's not like your age. You can't just deduct 10 years when you feel like it.
Jesus.
It just can't happen.
I think, please, also,
Producer, please look at these tapes again.
He thinks because it's live, we don't record it. We record it.
We record
all right?
everything. And there's no one out there. Who are you saying please to? We don't have a.
We're going to play it back. Let's stop the show right now. We must clear this up. But
I don't get
the fact is that it was 175 is where Royal Challengers Bangalore have finished. And let's have a look at what the summary has been. It was the Virat Kohli show once again. He got 68 of 44. Good to see Brendan McCullum get some runs, but Quinton de Kock really struggled to his 29. Birthday boy Andre Russell, lots of threes in there. This is his 30th birthday. Is it his third? I don't know. And we have Kuldeep Yadav, who bowled his 4 overs tight. Shivam Mavi is not in there. He bowled his overs pretty tight as well. Dooley, were you impressed with Shivam Mavi? Definitely an improvement over the last game.
Yeah, 3 overs for 21, learning all the time. I quite like. I don't know what people think about Dinesh Karthik with baseball signs, and he's just got to make it a little less obvious what they have to do. I mean, you were saying, Joe, they had the same situation when he was at Kolkata. If he can make it proper baseball signage, then it becomes really interesting. So all of a sudden, DK's behind the stumps and he's...
Yeah.
And Marvy knows exactly what that means, then that's cool. But when he stands there and goes like this, bowl at his toes, it's a little bit obvious for the guy at the other end to just yell out, Yorker's coming, Colin.
Exactly that. No, it was that famous season of 2009 where we developed all these systems.
Yeah.
And there's this bowler we had called Anurit Singh, who's a great player.
Yep.
But for him to figure out about 4-digit signs with one this, the bowlers also sitting at keeper. Both of them are looking at each other. People are wondering what the hell is happening. The other thing is, you do all these changes. It's all very well to make a change. But if the field hasn't changed for the ball, then you're in trouble. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and it's more often done wrong than right. So.
Well, listen, also if you do all these signs and you ask the bowler why he didn't follow them, he said, I just thought the keeper was doing the Macarena. I don't know.
But he was good.
Also, we're presuming here that fast bowlers are the sharpest tools in the shed.
Hey,
whoa, back up everybody.
Do I need to leave?
No, you don't.
Okay, good.
Hang on, my question is, do I need to leave?
No.
You've got a few inches on me.
I'll get you afterwards.
Afterwards. Listen, you don't do anything. I've got your risotto in my custody, right?
This is stooping too low. This is stooping too low. This show cannot...
Don't take a man's food, all right?
I've got his dinner in safe custody. Safe custody. Safe custody for KKR. You feel this match in safe custody with 176?
No.
To chase?
Not really.
No,
his pitch wasn't the greatest, was it?
I thought we saw some turn from Kuldeep in particular. We saw the slower balls gripping and turning from Mitchell Johnson late in the piece. So I don't think this is done and dusted at all. They're going to have to play very well. RCB are going to have to find something with the ball. Maybe the Tim Southee factor up front might help them a little bit. Chahal hasn't been as good this year, but I think he's going to be one of the keys tonight.
There it is, the Kolkata Knight Riders batting lineup. Remember, Lynn and Naren, this is the same ground, the same opposition where they got that famous century stand in the power play while opening. So you're probably seeing them opening here again. They've got batting running down till Andre Russell. So, and Piyush Chawla, Mitchell Johnson, they can tonk the ball as well. So it's not for lack of batting. It would obviously have to be very good bowling by RCB. But let's just come back to the batting now. Remember, AB de Villiers not playing, got a viral fever, sat this game out. You had Brendan McCullum and Quinton de Kock playing, and Simon and I were talking while watching the game, saying it was almost like they're auditioning against each other because one of them has to sit out when AB comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And Brendan's been sitting out for 4 games now. I think he played the first 2, then got dropped. So he's been sitting out for 4 games. Desperate to play. Started slowly, but picked things up quite nicely. Quinton de Kock was a little bit laboured tonight, wasn't he? In that, they were 50 after 7, I think, tonight, which you would want at Chinnaswamy to be a little quicker than that under normal circumstances.
Yeah, and I just felt both of them were sort of just stuttering. It's not the fluency of a typical Brendan innings, but what was good that he laboured, he went through with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even with Virat, it wasn't the typical Virat innings. Virat normally times it so sweetly, but you just saw one hint of the timing, that one drive.
Yeah.
But after that, till the end, till those last 2-3 sixes which he hit, he wasn't really timing it the way he did. which actually in one way is good news for them as well. So this 68 of 44, I think this is an innings of character more
You
than
said good
anything.
news for them in terms of?
Good news for them in the sense that if somebody like a Virat is not timing it, this pitch obviously isn't as true as it normally is at the Chinnaswamy.
Fair point.
And he can't read the pitches, can he? Because he said in the first game it was a really good one and it was a slow, low one, and then in this game he thought it was good as well. And the other one it looked like it was going to turn and they got 200. He's unsure.
Yeah, could be. Also, the point about, I mean, where you see, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about that after the game, but they do have a man-for-man Indian replacement for Quinton de Kock, which is Parthiv Patel, top of the order. Great experience behind the gloves. Has been part of 3 championship-winning teams.
Yeah, and Parthiv going up there might open a few other places for you.
Yeah.
Because the other problem that they have been having is either Manan's batting out of position, and when he's there, he's too anxious to do it, or he's just getting really good balls. I mean, the ball that Russell got him with was brilliant delivery. But the fact of the matter is, he's not having a great IPL, and that's not good news for them. I mean, the only batsman who are firing with any consistency for them has been AB, Mandeep, and to an extent Virat.
Yeah.
Nobody else has done anything for them.
Yeah, Mandeep is a little pocket rocket, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Doing a really good job, actually. He's finished some innings off for them quite nicely. It hasn't been any fault of his that RCB are languishing down towards the bottom of the table. It's, that all comes down to their bowling in particular. But he's had a pretty good season, I think, so far, and a new role for him as well.
RCB, let's have a look at the RCB bowling attack. Now remember, this is an attack that's come under attack themselves. Not a good economy rate. In fact, I think it's the worst in this season of the IPL. And when you look at that, it's a 9.7 economy rate. But you look at that bowling lineup, it's a decent bowling lineup.
Well, 2 completely new options for them tonight, isn't there? In Murugan Ashwin and Tim Southee. So we haven't seen de Grandon bowl yet. Maybe that will happen tonight. The 2 new guys coming in, they need to set the tone. I believe with Lynn up top, Joy, they might look at one spinner to open the batting. I know Narayan plays the spin well if he comes out, but I think with Chris Lynn, you've got to nullify it somehow with a pace at one end, Southee, and maybe it's Ashwin, maybe it's Chahal at the other end. But they will, I think, open or use spin quite early on.
I think it's going to be Ashwin because Chahal is somebody they like to save. They give him 1 in the 6th normally between the 3rd and the 6th. And then they give him later. So he normally has a plan, but Ashwin, you could just throw in because he's absolutely right. While you have, what do? You play against the advantages or disadvantages. Narayan looks at spin well, but hey, look at the other side of it. Linney is not the greatest player of spin at all.
Yeah, he almost seems frightened of it this season, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it's just the ball's not coming on. Yeah. He's at his best when the ball is coming onto the bat and he can hit through the line of the ball. He hits it as well as anyone in the world when it's coming on. He plays his cricket at the Gabba. For the Brisbane Heat, where it's, they call him and Brendan McCullum the Bash Brothers.
The Bash Brothers,
which is exactly how they are at the Brisbane Heat. So when it's coming onto the bat, he can hit through the line and finds it easy. When it's slow and stopping a little bit and turning, he just finds it a little harder.
Well, this Bash brother will be listening to the other Bash brother who after the innings did say that this pitch is slower. It's not coming on as well as it does usually or it probably did in the previous game. So Baz has said that. We obviously then, given that information, are looking at 175 and going, wow, okay, this could be equivalent to 200 from a few days ago.
True that. The only thing is that none of your, the RCB pacers, because you're going to have 12 overs of pace. Yeah. None of them really are very good at taking pace off the ball all the time. They're normally guys who go in. Umesh is not the kind of guy who's renowned for a great slower ball. It's his, it's his length ball. So that's the one issue that you are going to come up with, that taking pace of the ball is not the strength of these 3 fast bowlers.
Okay, now the big question, and that's a big question for all RCB fans always, is who's going to bowl at the death? Because this match is going to go down to that. Who's going to be bowling at the death?
If I'm saving 3 overs, maybe 4, I want at least 2 from Tim Southee, and I'd like 1 from Mohammad Siraj, minimum, and I'd like 1 from Umesh Yadav. Okay. So save those 4. That's how I would play the death. Don't have 2 from Siraj, don't have 2 from Umesh. Make Tim Southee the overseas pro, have 2 overs.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree. And my point is that this KKR lineup is talented but fragile.
Okay.
And it's got a fairly long tail. It's not as long, long a batting lineup as they'd like. So you get a few wickets, you get in among them. You have 2-3 obvious danger men. There's Narayan and Lynn up front. There's Russell at the back. But get rid of these people and you put them at 11 and 12 and you're beginning to catch them by the throat. So I think that's what they'll be looking at doing. And if they get it, if again Umesh key, wickets up front is key for them.
And you want the spinners to be bowling. You want Chahal to be coming into the attack when the run rate's climbing. When they've got to go at him. If they've got to go at Chahal, it's a lot harder.
Umesh had the measure of Sunil Narine last time, if you remember. He kept sort of bowling at him, at his body. He's got short pitch stuff. You'd probably see him opening and peppering him with that kind of stuff again, because they know that that's not his wheelhouse, isn't it? Yeah. He needs a little bit of width.
He needs width. He needs, he needs them to bowl up to him for him to really open, free himself up and hit. And he knows, I mean, they've spent this 4 years in the same dressing room together.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly what Narine is about. He would have been in the team meeting which would have decided that Narayan's going to open.
Yeah.
And the strength of it. So he knows exactly what it's all about.
Love it when people change teams like that. We've got a question, a Twitter question that's come in, so we're going to ask that right now. It's about Virat Kohli, and obviously a lot is about Virat Kohli. But this one is, what's the difference between that magical 2016 season and the present? Why isn't he having the same impact that he used to? It's come from Gojay.
Gojay, I would say that he's desperate to win the IPL. He's desperate to do well, and maybe that is added pressure for Virat Kohli at the moment, and we're not quite seeing the free-flowing, fluent Virat Kohli. If I'm RCB and this year doesn't go well, I'm looking around the world for the best overseas 2020 captain I can find. And that might sound harsh, but Virat's got a massive load on his shoulders carrying this Indian team, captaining this Indian team. I think if he was a free just to play IPL and not captain a team, I think we would see the best of him every year from here on in. So if I'm RCB, I'm looking at a brilliant overseas 2020 captain for next year, and I'm going to allow Virat Kohli to be Virat Kohli and play, get you 800 runs a year.
Wow, that's a big call, huh?
As a famous Indian cricketer said in a famous tweet, nothing to add.
Ooh.
That's exactly, exactly. Just the man looks as if he's got too much on his back.
Yeah.
He just needs to get freer.
And carrying the batting of RCB almost.
100%. I mean, imagine a free, happy, smiley Virat Kohli just as a player.
Yeah.
And he could add to a captain. He could add to anything. And as AB does, as Brendan McCullum does in that lineup. They've got so many guys who can add bits and pieces to that team. But I'd be looking at that situation and saying, listen, mate, you've got so much on your plate.
Yeah.
Don't take this on. Just be our best player. And that's all we're asking you to be.
Have fun for these 2 months. You've got enough on your plate.
I actually wonder whether he might say, I quite like that idea.
No, even, and my point is that you saw him at the toss. He's a man who's not even focused on he's trying to remember which players he's got the changes in his lineup. It shows somebody who has way too much in his mind. Do you want probably the best cricketer in the world to be burdened by so much, or do you want him to just go and play his game? And I suspect the other things that he does, captaincy and all, there are other people who can pick up. But nobody can bat today the way Virat Kohli can bat.
And I think Indian cricket will benefit from it as well, because it'll freshen him up. Being a player is so much different to being a captain, and I think Indian cricket will benefit massively from Virat just being a player.
All right, you know what's happening on Twitter right now, right?
Oh, yeah.
1 second.
Simon Doull says...
No. Just
Kohli
opening Pandora's box. There you go. Out you go, Pandora. Go. Spread your wings and fly.
But my point
Listen, but these are really good points. Think about them calmly. Just think about them for a second. They could absolutely make sense. They really do. Just give him those 2 months and say, have fun, bro. Just have fun. You do enough for the country for 10 months. Just have fun. Score 1,000 runs. You've done it before.
And he could do it for them just because he's having fun. Just because he's freed.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, now I'm going to ask the gentleman. It's not a tougher question than that they just answered, but fair enough. Your prediction, is it KKR or is it RCB?
I actually think RCB might just defend.
Interesting.
I was going to say the same thing, so I'm going to stick with it.
You're going to say nothing to add?
Nothing to add. Nothing to add.
Excellent. Well, I've got a big job to do now. I've got to open 3 locks and then the safe and access Dooley's dinner and give it to him because he's not killed me, so which is a good thing. And after that, we're going to come back in about 90 minutes and then pick it up from there. It's been such a fabulous Sunday of cricket, and I'm sure it will be now in this second half of the game as well. 176 is what RCB need to get, and is what KKR need to get, and RCB really need to defend it if they want to stay alive in this tournament and sort of jump and make a play for that 3rd and 4th position. But anyway, we'll see you then. Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you, Joy. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Keep your questions on Twitter coming. #CricBuzz Live. We'll see you shortly.